I feel compelled to continue with two add-ons and say something about moral and spirituality in relation to fascism. Just like the definition, this is only my opinion and perspective on it. There are two morals prevalent in our world. One is the life-positive moral. Some people call it the Greco-Roman moral, and Nietzsche called it moral of the master. It can also be found in the Old Testament as this eye for an eye thing. It sees life from a Darwinian point of view as a value as such, actually the one real and first value. The implication is this: it will allow me to do nasty things to bring my offspring into the next round. If this means I have to steal food from my neighbor and my neighbor will subsequently die during winter because I stole his food, then shall it be. I am entitled to bring my offspring into the next round by any means necessary. On the other hand, there is the death cult, which presumably originated from or with Christianity. A meek moral, which tells me to offer my other cheek if someone slaps me in the face. This is ultimately a death cult, because I'm not allowed to defend myself, and if challenged, I'm told to accept my fate and die without resistance. I shall be rewarded in a hypothetical afterlife. Nietzsche called this the slave moral of the left. Almost needless to say, most fascists fall in line with the Greco-Roman model of moral. Life positivity is an implication of biology. When it comes to spirituality, fascism creates a complex problem which is not immediately obvious. Fascism tends to be in conflict with monotheistic religions like the three Abraham religions. Even if the conflict is not immediately obvious, this has actually a very simple reason. From biology and life and the features of the human species, we can easily derive a simple list of priorities for fascist politicians. First comes your folk, second comes your white family. This means the family of white nations in this context. And then comes everything else. Your God, your wife, or whatever. I'm not speaking of the individual level here. As an individual, I wouldn't blame you if your wife and children are the most important thing in your life. I'm speaking about the collective level and your priorities if you engage in politics. And this natural order of priorities for a politician obviously clashes with the idea of a monotheistic God, who typically demands to be seen above everything else. If you submit to this idea, you can no longer swear an oath to serve your country, your nation, or your folk, because your monotheistic God will become the highest authority in your life. I guess this is one reason why so many fascists express more or less strong leaning towards some sort of paganism. Okay, this was the chapter add-ons. The whole video was inspired by this interview between Ramsey Paul and Cultured Thug. So I think it would be nice to expand on two questions Ramsey asked. One was about the economic system of a fascist state, and the other, how do you select a leader for your state? From the comment section I got, people were not really satisfied with the answers they got. So I will try a second shot. Number 1. What is the economic model of a fascist state? The truth is, this is the wrong question from a fascist point of view. The question should be, what do you want from your economy? Now it becomes easy to use a scientific approach. Your folk is your top priority, and their well-being is your goal. Certainly you have seen something like this. You call this a bell curve. In German we call it a Normalverteilung, a normal distribution. This is nice because the word normal refers to the world and nature. Nature is of course the best teacher of them all. If this is the income distribution of your population, this would be nice. It would mean there are few people who are dirt poor and also few people who are frivolous rich, while the vast majority of your population is doing somewhat okay. And now the answer becomes, find an economy model which creates an income distribution close to a bell curve. If planned economy does the trick, fine. If market economy works better, fine. I guess a healthy mix of market economy and planned economy will produce the best outcome. But the point is, do it as good as you can and feel free to improve your system until you are satisfied with the outcome. Number 2, how do you select a leader? Same procedure again. The real question is, what do you want from your leader? Do you think smart is beneficial? What about competence? And corruption is very bad, right? Also, he should have your, or better his, folk as highest priority. Truthful and faithful are also good virtues for a politician. But first and foremost, the politician should be well educated and fit for office, I guess. And now the answer is, design a process to filter your politicians for the desired virtues. Of course I have my opinions how I would do this, but I will skip this part and not go into much details. All I will say here is, my process would involve a sort of voting. I would let people like their candidates into office. Why? Because people love to have an opinion. Here in Germany, some people seriously pay to have an opinion. I don't know if this is a German phenomenon or if this can be found elsewhere, but you can pay 50 cents to tell someone which Star Trek movie is the best in your eyes. It's totally ridiculous, but people seem to like it enough to even pay for it. So why not make them happy? Let them like their candidates into office after your rigorous filter process ensured they are all fit for office. So, I hope this clarified the fascist approach and thought process a bit. Ramsey Paul, if you hear this, I hope it helps you to become the best fascist you can be. And for all the others of you, I hope you enjoyed my thick German accent. Be well, wherever you are.